today I want to talk a little bit about bashing a myth that came up this weekend while working with a client and that I happen to see quite frequently. I'm going to just apologize in advance because there's people working nearby and I think these things have to change as well, and it's pretty loud. And I realize every time I try to make a video there's some sort of noise distraction in the background, and it's been interesting to say the least that this keeps happening. But anyway, it must be some sort of part of my journey to deal with distractions from the external world while I'm trying to teach. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was this concept or this myth essentially that intuition is a gift. And this is a big one, so bear with me with this one. Now, every single human being that exists in the world is intuitive. Now, that doesn't mean everyone's using their intuition, so that is the difference, right? We are not taught in school how to use our intuitions. We are not taught in your families how to use intuition, unless maybe you are, and if you are, you're one of the, I would say, lucky ones who got taught that. But for the most part, this is something that we're taught to actually not listen to. So if I go all the way back to myself being a child, I had a quote-unquote imaginary friend, and he was very real to me. I could see him, I could feel him. He lived in the tree out back. I would walk around and talk to him. He would come inside my house and play with me. He would sit next to me at dinner time. I even would go and ring his doorbell. The tree he lived in had a special doorbell, and it looked like a doorbell, which was interesting. And I know I would ask his mom if he could come and play with me, and sometimes she would say no. Sometimes she'd be like, no, he's in the bathtub right now, he could come and play with you, or whatever was happening. So this was all real to me. He was real to me, his mother was real to me. These were things that I saw and felt. But we're told that those things aren't real. That you're not actually seeing anything, it's just imaginary, you're just using your imagination, nothing's really there. And so already from 3 years old, we're taught not to trust our own selves and our own experiences of life. Now, because my mom always had dreams of the future, it was a norm in my household, and so it wasn't outlandish when I was 16 and I started having dreams of the future. And so I don't think I told anyone about it at first, but one of my very first experiences was I dreamt that I was skiing with this man, and he was older and starting to bald, and I could not for the life of me, when I woke up, I was like, why was I skiing with that guy? That's so weird. And at the time, I had been in the ski club in high school, and I was going on ski trips. And I don't remember if it was the next day or if it was that weekend, but it was pretty close to the day that I had the dream. I want to say it was the next day, but I went on the ski trip. I wasn't a very good skier, so and most of my friends were, and I couldn't keep up with them. And so this time I decided to pay for a lesson for myself first, so that maybe I could be a better skier and keep up with my friends on the slopes. And so I go to this lesson, and the only two students in this lesson are me and the man that was in my dreams. So no, he's not the man of my dreams. He's just the man that was in my dreams that day, or that evening. And so that to me was oh, how did that happen? How did I dream about this person before I even saw them in real life? What is going on? And so I had already been interested in things that were extraordinary at that time, but that really started to spark my interest. And as time went on, I continued to have dreams that foretold the future, and I appreciated them because most of the time they were helpful to me, especially when it came to things that were very emotional. So it was sort of like I had prepping for that experience to occur. However, maybe had my mom not been someone who also was dreaming the future her whole life and openly discussed it and talked about it, perhaps I wouldn't have looked at that as such a okay thing and wouldn't have embraced it, but I did. Now, those are just two small examples of using our intuition. I'm not going to say that the imaginary friend was a real spirit that I was talking to, but maybe he was. I'm absolutely going to say that the dreams that I had that were coming true were clearly not just coincidences. Now, I'm not special because I have dreams of the future, right? Or I saw that imaginary friend, and I'm not saying that that if you didn't do those things, you haven't had those experiences, that you don't have the same ability and intuition that I do. The only difference, and this is so important, the only difference is that maybe it was just a little bit easier for me to tap into it as I continued to progress with it and try to tap into it, versus if I hadn't had those experiences. But that is simply it. It was just maybe easier for me, but that doesn't mean it's not possible for you, whether you had those experiences or not, or you had even more profound experiences. Because I know, sorry, the noise again. I know there are so many experiences that I have gotten to hear in my work from people who have seen way more than me as children and as adults, with their eyes wide open, and experienced so much more than I do. So I'm going to just cycle back to what it is I actually do right now for a living. And that is working with energy fields and reading the energy around people's energy fields. And so when I say that, essentially what I'm saying is that you have an energy field, you have energy around you, and I am reading that energy, I'm reading those vibrations so that I can reverberate back to you, basically. Is that a word? I don't know if that's a word, but I can give it back to you, basically, and sort of act as a mirror for you. Now, the reason that that is important is because we have a lot of self-doubt, and so, just natural to human beings, that human beings just have self-doubt, so you're not, there's something wrong with you if you do, it's pretty normal. But when you have someone reflect back to you who you are on those super levels, it validates you. It makes you feel seen, it makes you feel validated, and it makes you feel better, because then it's like, okay, I'm not crazy. I actually, do have this ability, or I do have these experiences, or yes, I do think that. I've never shared that with anyone before, and it helps you to own it. The other side is that I also find things in the subconscious that are blocking people. Now, sometimes they are consciously aware of it, but they haven't done anything about it. And other times they are not consciously aware of it. It's in their subconscious and it's affecting their life. And until we make that subconscious conscious, we cannot do anything about it. It has to be conscious for us to make a change with it. And so this is an extremely valuable skill that I have, and I want to just really make the point clear that I am not special, and this is not a quote-unquote gift, that this is available to everyone. Now, is it overnight available to everyone? No. Obviously, I spent a lot of time honing this skill, and I also spent a lot of time working on my own healing and removing the blocks and barriers that would prevent me from being able to tap into this space and to tap into this energy and to really use my intuition, not just to help my own self, but to help others. Now, if you're not interested in helping others at this stage in your life, it's totally understandable. First, you do want to spend time working on your own self. And you can tap into your intuition and utilize it to help you on your life journey. The thing is, you have to believe that you can, and you have to start. So it's not as simple as, okay, I'm gonna meditate right now and be quiet and still, and I'm just going to totally tap into my intuition, and then 32 seconds into that, your mind is running and running and running. You're like, forget it, I can't do it, I don't have this gift. No, that's not how it works. It takes some practice, it takes some time, but it's something that's available to you if you believe it is. And really that's the point of this video. I'm not going to go into how you tap into your intuition. That's like a whole nother ballgame that I could go into another day, but not right now. I just wanted to make the point of it's not a gift. There are so many people who, when I first started my business, would ask, exactly what I was doing, or even people who came to see me who would say like, oh, you have such a gift, oh, you have the gift. People say that, the gift, you have the gift, you have such a gift. No, the reality is that this is available to everyone. Everyone. You are a human being. You have intuitive abilities. It is part of who you are. Just as we can see and we can hear and we can feel and we can touch and we can smell and we can taste, just as we have those abilities, which I do understand, sometimes people don't have all of them, I get that. But just as we have those abilities, we also have the extrasensory abilities. And so if you believe that you do, and you believe that it's possible for you to utilize them, to tap into them, to hone those skills and to use them for your own life, or if you want to use them to help other people, you will be able to. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take time and patience and your passion and your energy to make it happen, but it can happen. And that was the point of all of this video, is that it is debunking the myth that intuitive abilities are a gift. They are your birthright as a human being on this planet living this life. So if you want to tap into your intuitive abilities, if you want to expand your extrasensory perception, it is available to you. Thank you for listening.